So Moritz is very known on Google. If you say, hey, you want to have an ERC20 token, you just, how do I do it? Immediately he pops up, and now he's come up with something new. Naming convention in the crypto world is a pain in the butt. Now there is a naming ID system, and he's created Tensorium. And you basically say, I want to claim a username, you want to connect it to an Ethereum address, you do a connection, and hooray, I have claimed my vincenteverts.tensorium.-id.ethereum, and it points to my wallet. So now instead of typing in a horrible number, you can just type in a name. Now that's very useful. Okay, Moritz, what is yours and what is in general Ethereum technology?
All right, so basically what we're creating is a subdomain factory. There's this thing called ENS. ENS is basically a technology that allows you to transform a public address into this name. So
it's an alias for an Ethereum address.
Exactly, an alias for an Ethereum username. That's what we like to understand. And what we created is basically, to claim a fully ENS domain, you have to go to a 5 days auction system, you have to bid, which is just insane for adaptability, for user experience. We basically create a subdomain factory where we already claim the Tensorium ID, and we allow you to claim this in 40 seconds and just like basically instantly have the whole experience.
Okay, so instead of having my vincenteverts-id.ethereum, I now have a subdomain of Tensorium. So, and that's really fast and easy. It takes about a minute. And how does your business model work? What does it cost me to claim my subdomain under your domain?
All right, so right now, everything that goes there is just gas. You don't have to pay for us, you just have to pay for the transactions to go through. What we actually...
Which was about 58 dollar cents at the moment.
Exactly. Sometimes...
And the next one was 79.
Exactly, fluctuates with gas price, which is like just a nature of the Ethereum ecosystem. And what we're actually building, this is just a piece of the whole ecosystem that we're creating. The way that it works is that we're creating this relay network that pays gas for every user, and this plays a special role where we can guarantee that users can basically transact on human readable addresses and not look into 0x, 1, 2, 3 and the whole craziness of the ecosystem.
Yeah, you do that, but how do you get paid? I mean, because I paid my own gas, I pay my own way, which is ridiculously expensive just to claim a username 79 cents. But I mean, how do you get paid in the end?
All right, so the way it works is that we have relayers. These relayers charge a fee in ERC20. We run relayers, and we experiment on the whole concept around it. So our relayers will basically charge fees in ERC20s, and this will be part of the package. So TensID is just one of the experiments that we created to basically see how people would interact, see how many people would touch. But basically we're giving this whole package to developers so they can implement everything at once, and then the relayers get a cut of the transaction. It's an open system, it's like Ethereum. So like we're creating something called desktop mining, where miners, instead of going after hashes, they're going after transactions to relay.
Yeah. Okay, but you made this nice, beautiful concept, this system, this technology is wonderful, the domain, subdomain naming convention system, but these transaction costs are insane. I mean, doesn't that frustrate you?
Yeah, look, it's it's absolutely like, I completely, fully agree with you. The whole gas system is just insane if you're talking about...
It's now more expensive than a Bitcoin transaction.
It is, like in many times like it gets even higher. So the whole idea that what we're trying to create is basically decouple the usability from the payment of taxes. So we can really create this game around paying gas fees, where someone's getting money, someone's getting transaction fees, and the user doesn't have to think too much about it.
Okay, great idea. We need to fix the transaction fees. How long will that take? What plans are currently in place to fix the crazy transaction fees in Ethereum?
All right, so like I just came back from DevCon, and there's a lot of research going towards ETH 2.0. We have implementations like Lighthouse that are basically looking into sharding into ETH 2.0 to create a system where the transactions fees are lowest because the scalability goes higher, all right? And there's several implementations like in terms of sharding, creating the beacon chain and everything. In terms of timeline, it's a really experimental technology. It's always like everybody who says something different is just like, it's just not realistic.
So 3-year time frame.
Yeah, all right. So like there's implementations that like this Tensorium that will start coming like mid next year. Yeah. But to have a full-fledged technology, like it's hard to say, but like we believe like from 1-2 years that like can really start like to see this scalable Ethereum somehow.
Okay. Then if we move from this whole proof of work and to this proof of stake, is that going anywhere in when you were at the conference?
Yeah, that's exactly all the discussion was going towards ETH 2.0, and that was actually the biggest discussion about what we call it right now. We moved from Shaspa, which was Casper and Shuddery, it was like stupid name, to something that Vitalik called Serenity. All right, so Serenity State is ETH 2.0, is where we're going to implement ideally the scalability things, where ideally gas price goes lower somehow because of the scalability, and the thing that you mentioned about proof of work, where you don't have to have a chain doing proof of stake, proof of work, and you go to proof of stake, yes.
And what time frame are we looking out for that kind of trend?
So this was one of the most sensible questions. No one wanted to take the stage and say, it's a day, all right? So what we know is that some of the implementations, the first implementations will start to go out in the mid next year, but to have a full-fledged technology it has to be more than that. Like talking with the core developers and everybody, like it's clear that it's going to take 1 year, 2 years to like have something that is somehow solid.
Yeah. So at least 3 years before transaction costs will go down to a reasonable level at Ethereum. Will that not kill the whole ecosystem before it's solved?
Yeah, look, it's a reasonable state to say, but
it's just a question. You know much more answers than I do.
Coming from DevCon, looking to everything, like to see 4,000 people going to a conference, coming from all over the world, really, really smart people looking at the ecosystem. Yeah. It's really passionate.
Motivating, yeah.
Exactly. You can see that people are really taking it serious, even into this beer market. Yeah. You know, so like, I believe in the things that Ethereum is bringing in terms of philosophy, in terms of like technology, in terms of potential, and we are all somehow anxious because of price fluctuations, because of things, because of buzz and like into the whole community. But if you look at the technologies being built, it's solid technology, and people are really looking to build something that can change the world.
Yes. And then what else? What is 4 years? Really, I mean, 4 years is nothing.
Yeah, it's true. Look, and what we did, and there was this old discussion about, there's a lot of breaking technology coming now to Ethereum, all right? So people are more aware that we have.
Give me a couple of buzz names.
Yeah, we have Gnosis, Tensorum, all right? Looking at technology that can, can really give a better experience to developers, to users already before we have ETH 2.0.
Okay. 4,000 people were there. Where was this?
Prague.
There were 4,000 Ethereum developers in Prague.
Even more. It was amazing. It was really good. It was really good.
How was the atmosphere?
Man, it was like insane. Like, and since like the whole ICO kind of got less intense, it was really focused on user experience. It was really focused on, right, how can we increase this bubble? But not like economical bubble, but this the bubble where all these developers were, and we can increase the community to people who doesn't have access to internet somehow, and people who like are not yet aware of blockchain, and what kind of philosophical implementations and implications we have on this. Yeah.
Hey, what about really, really good applications which are actually very useful for a lot of people, and which, first, I mean, I guess we have to first make an application which can have transaction costs of $1. Yeah. Yeah. So what kind of application did people come up with which millions of people are going to use, and a transaction cost of $1 is not a problem?
Yeah, that's an amazing one. But look, if you ask me, all right, what's the core thing? What's the killer app? For me, we already have a killer app for blockchain. The killer app is money, all right? It's Bitcoin. That's the killer app for blockchain. It is something that already solves a problem. It solves trust problem. It solves like when you can decouple somehow an institutional value from the institution of decisions, the state. So it already solves this problem. Even
especially in Venezuela and in Turkey and Brazil and
like inflation looks like.
I know, it's really painful. Yeah, it's really painful. So you think it's extremely useful to give you way out. But that is for about, I'd say 10% of the people. It's really interesting. Now, talk to us about America or Europe. What kind of application do we need, which millions of people are using, and which is worth $1 transaction fee?
All right, so like that is worth $1 transaction fee. That's just if I'm transacting $1 million, all right? That's how we can measure the things. But in terms of applications that are really worth it, we can see like all these smart wallets coming along that can really support somehow experiences that are not blockchain related. Like the thing that I just presented this demo, that you touch blockchain, you touch things on chain, you do everything, but you don't actually have to see the blockchain, you don't have to see the Ethereum. And that's when we start this architecture that allows developers to scale to the mainstream, where I'm not just judging this dApp anymore, oh, I'm gonna use just because it's blockchain. No, I'm gonna use it because this shit gives me real value. You know, this thing can really...
Okay, but you don't give me a clear answer, right? I mean, you give me a philosophy which might work, but I don't have anything practical yet. I am really curious. I want to have, millions of transactions a day, and I want them at a price of less than 1/10 of a cent. And I just have to wait 3 years.
You have to wait something. Right now, yeah. It's the state of the industry.
Okay, thank you very much.